Hello everybody, my name is Rolak, welcome back to Rune King. This is post-commentary, because for some really stupid reason, when I first recorded this episode, my mic audio was very quiet. I think my microphone was unplugged slightly, so that may have affected it. So I scrapped the mic audio altogether, and I'm now just going to be doing some post-commentary. In the last episode, we... what did we do last episode? I don't even remember, it's been so long. I think we cleansed Maokai's roots. We pretty much did that. We got a seed that we're going to have to take to a Buru temple so we can, cleanse it or something like that. We also talked to this lady who would unlock our third ultimates, and we did so with Ari's. And I think, if I recall correctly, we're going to be getting pikes done in this episode. I think. Because pikes is probably one of the easier ones to do, and is likely the easiest one to do. Aside from just Ari having to kill. Well, Ari has to kill like 25 enemies, which is not a difficult process to do in any way whatsoever. But yeah, this is what's going to be happening. It's only for this episode, and I'm really sorry for that. Only for this episode. All the other ones I got them fixed like pretty much immediately afterwards. So it's not going to be consistent, unfortunately. And I don't have anybody to co-commentate with me, also unfortunately, because it's kind of just run of the mill, and it's literally, last minute thing, because this episode's going out tomorrow. I'm literally doing this the night before. So that's how I'm spending my evening. I am also a little bit sick. I think I'm at the tail end of being sick. So I sound a lot better now. I'm going to sound a lot worse than the next episode, I'll tell you that much. But I may sound a little nasally here, but it's pretty much fine as is. So we're just going to go with the flow, as most people would say. We're getting pretty close to unlocking pretty much every upgrade point for each ability. I think we just got the... Do we do this episode, or do we... No, we unlock it... I think we unlock... We unlock the middle two later down the road. Close. It's getting pretty close. Yeah, this is how we're going to do things. I wish I could tell you what I was trying to think going through the upgrades and whatnot, but I honestly could not tell you. I think that's it for the upgrading. Yeah, so in this episode we're going to be going after Pike's level 3 ultimate, which again is probably the easiest one to do. In terms of easiness of actually getting all the ultimates, I would say Ari's is easiest, Pike's second, Fortune's is third, Alawi is fourth, and then Brahm and Yasuo, they're similar. You have to get like a thing, and you have to bring it to the lady, and then you get the thing. So yeah. So yeah, the enemies that are popped up are going to be in the port area, in the graveyard, and Mistwalker's on the force path near the Shadow Vault. So that's where the strong Mistwalkers are. First one's literally right around the corner, and that thing is still level 1. I do not understand what's with that thing. Because as far as I can recall, that thing has never been level 1, and I have no idea how it is, but it just is. So the Harpooner, it pretty much just stacks up haste and randomly shoots at your team 11 times. It is pretty beefy, so it's also pretty tanky, but it's really no problem at this level. We're like 3 to 4, almost 4 levels ahead of it, so it's going to be no real problem. And this shield bearer has defensive stance, or ray shield. Reduces damage, but I think was a power lane attack or a speed lane attack dispels it, so not too much of a complicated enemy to deal with.
Just like I remember.
Not complicated in the slightest. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing for this episode. I'm pretty sure we're just going to be doing Pike's Ultimate, and I think we're going to head back to Bilgewater and do some stuff here and there, but nothing too extravagant or interesting, to say the least. Apologies for that. This is going to be kind of a boring episode one way or another. I mean, you have me talking all the time, so it's also going to be very boring in that sense of the matter. But yeah, this is going to be the episode. These guys aren't too tough, so... The annoying part is that the Harpooner can hit Pike even if he's invisible with his spread attack. But it still shouldn't be too difficult of a fight. That's a nice crit from Ari, taking out the Harpooner. Now we just got this guy to deal with. Again, shouldn't be too difficult. So, yeah. I really wish I had actually fixed my audio properly as soon as I saw it, but I just don't know. I saw it and I just thought I'd be quiet. I didn't realize it was deathly quiet, but that's what we're dealing with. Another crit from Ari, taking out the shield bearer.
That's gotta hurt.
So we just gotta do that 2 more times. That's a level up for Fortune. Getting Shredder and Misdirection. Their tier 3 upgrades, as well as another upgrade point. And that guy just came out of buttfuck nowhere right into Pike. I honestly have no idea how that guy got there. I'm pretty sure Pike didn't pull him. So I have no idea what the hell happened. But yeah, I don't know why these two are level 1.
They try to get away.
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure that has to be a bug. Because those things have never been level 1 in my other 2 files. I don't know. This game is so beyond complicated. Not in the, like, challenging, complicated way. But in, like, the just, why the hell is it like this kind of way? Like, there are so many weird inconsistencies with this game. One of the worst inconsistencies is Fortune's level 3 ultimate, because it is really stupid and it's also missing its model for most of the time. I'm guaranteed that if you look into the files of this game, you cannot find the model for that ultimate. It's so annoying. And there's just so many other inconsistencies that are just incredibly annoying. Like Ari's, I'm still incredibly mad at Ari's orb being focused on her whenever she uses Orb of Deception. It's really, really aggravating. Because that hasn't happened on my other 2 files, as far as I can remember. And I'm fairly certain that I've never ever had that issue before. It's so annoying. And the fact that the game keeps crashing randomly, not even really crashing, just kind of like soft locking itself. Like after I beat the big golem guy first off for the Serrated Dirk, and the game just decided to freeze in the loading screen. And I'm pretty sure that happened at some other point. When I was talking to Phileas, when we first got to the Shadow Isles, he immediately just broke the game as we tried to talk to him. And that's not even all of the glitches that we've encountered so far. There are some glitches that I have had encountered in my previous playthroughs that have yet to surface on this game, in this playthrough. One of which is being a texture glitch that I can only be described as, just missing textures, being white. It happened quite a lot in the Shadow Isles areas, so I'm surprised that I haven't encountered anything like that yet. Although something's going to be popping up later in a couple episodes where it's something very similar to that. But it's a lot different, but it's going to happen. And I will say, the one thing I'm grateful for this playthrough is that I'm seeing a lot of new glitches, which I'm honestly not a fan of. Yeah, and these Fear Eaters have a very nasty haste buff, which lasts the entire battle, so dispel that somehow, but they're also just pretty frail as is, so their haste isn't too concerning. Such a good ability for Pike. That can guarantee kill most things. Because it's just so much damage.
Is that all?
Oh yeah, and Terror is going to be a mechanic that's going to be coming in soon. It's not as relevant here, or relevant, whatever the fuck the word is. Not as relevant here, but later down the road we're going to be encountering a lot of enemies. Terror is a very annoying debuff where it consists after battle. The only way to get rid of it is if you do a rest, and it's a super annoying thing because once you get to a certain amount of stacks, you just get dealt a lot of damage. And again, it persists through combat. So the only other way to get rid of it would be using a dispelling potion, but that's if you want to have a dispel potion. I mean, you could probably totally do a dispel potion and probably won't do much. What else are you going to be using a dispel potion for in your gameplay? And that's the thing that I keep failing to do, is actually use potions, because we have gathered a lot of potions. The only issue that I'm having is that I'm having a hard time keeping track of the bloody potions. Because for some godforsaken reason, the potion organization in this game is atrocious. And I am not sugarcoating that. It is downright terrible. Why would you divide certain potions into different rarity tiers if they're going to do the exact same thing across different rarities? It doesn't matter if a moderate health potion is uncommon, rare, or epic. They're all going to be healing the exact same amount of health. It does not matter what you do. And the fact that you can't stack potions on top of each other and make it easier for your inventory is also incredibly annoying and just terrible game design. I fail to understand how they thought that was a good design point. But here we are. There's a few more odd design choices throughout this game that I've not really brought to attention, but yeah.
On the job.
I guess we could talk about the stealth mechanic not being overly super helpful. So the stealth mechanic is mostly just for Pike, because he's the one that uses it the most common. Stealth is a pretty self-explanatory type of buff, where you just become invisible and no enemies can target you. AoE attacks can still affect you. But the fact that if you are in a 1v1, which happens quite a few times for Pike, once against that golem in the underground area where we get the serrated dirk, that's a good example of stealth probably not working as intended. Another instance is going to be popping up in the Crucible, where Pike is supposedly supposed to fight a mob, but the way stealth works in this game, it makes it practically impossible. What I'm trying to say is, stealth in a 1v1 situation does not work. But I'm pretty sure they intended it to work. So I'm just immensely confused as to what exactly needs to happen. Because the way that it's supposed to work, obviously, is that you are supposed to become invisible, become untargetable, and enemies can't hit you that way. And that's obvious, and that's evident in fights where there are more than one enemy and there's more than one of your allies. What doesn't work is that if it's in a 1v1 situation, you straight up do not gain the benefit of not being targeted. And you would think, in the fight with that golem, where you get the serrated dirk, that would work. Because he has an ability where he can only use it if Pike is targeted. And he has an ability where he targets Pike, and he can't do that unless Pike is not stealthed. And you think, oh, that's the mechanic of the fight. We're able to cheese this really easily if we just stay invisible. But then they put an ability where he just straight up deals moderate damage regardless if he's invisible or not. And the fact that it works even if he's invisible is beyond annoying. I don't understand. if that was intended or not. I truly have no idea. It's impossible to tell. I want to believe that they intended for that to be completely soloable at a lower level and possible to beat. So you can get a free early weapon if you want to risk it. It makes sense because the enemy takes more damage from poisons and burns from Pike, so you would expect it to work if you just stay stealth throughout the entire fight, but it doesn't. The developers of this game design things that should work, but the game ends up fighting against it and not working. I have no idea if anything that isn't supposed to work is supposed to work, or if it was intended or not. It's immensely confusing, and I honestly have so little words for it. Anyways, completing that mission not only gets Pike's third ultimate, but also gets some bonus gold from Phileas. It is done. Those revenants are dead. Oh, and do you feel any different? No. Ever the killer. You are stronger now, regardless. You shall see. And we unlock Reaper. Reaper is possibly one of the highest damage dealing abilities in the game. Deals a shit ton of damage and deals an additional damage per stack of any debuff on the target. So not only is this just straight up one of the highest damage dealing abilities in the game, it can deal additional damage if the enemy has any debuffs on them. If you somehow manage to combo this with Ari's Wither, that can probably kill most things in one hit. Although, a lot of the time, enemies don't have more than 4,000 health, so there's really no reason to do that much damage to an enemy unless it was like a boss or something. But hey, if you wanna do it like that, then go right ahead. Anyway, not a whole lot that we need to do, so we'll just be heading to the Serpent Coast to see what's up. And seeing if we can do anything with that temple.
We've been sailing around in circles. Hey, silent type. Please tell me you sense something. That's very typical.
You tempt fate with me, Fortune.
You're lucky to be here with us. That Alawi let you keep breathing. Or keep not breathing. You'll encounter the wrong captain one day, Ripper.
Many say you are the wrong captain.
What? Damn it! I had a great line ready.
The fishman must sense something. He is much better swimmer than Brom. Maybe he can teach.
Didn't you swim all the way to Bilgewater?
Yes, but Brom is glad no one was watching.
There's a problem.
You sound a lot less confident than you did a few minutes ago.
What have you found?
The temple is below, but its power has drawn things from the depths.
What kind of things?
Masses of tentacles and eyes, scales sharp like blades, creatures of teeth and gills. The ancient sea's finest.
So talk to them. Tell them to get lost.
I can get past, Captain. You, however, are simply a convenient meal. We aren't getting past them.
If we cannot fight our way through, we must create other solutions. I must speak to the Buru Elder.
So just like that, we head back to Bilgewater?
Unless you would care to go for a swim.
Turn the boat around.
Nice little phase in and out there at the end. Fun. Okay, so I have a little gripe. Is it easy to get to the Shadow Isles? Because, like, I always kind of just envisioned that the Shadow Isles is this forbidden place that nobody can really go to, and it's kind of impossible to get there because of the enroaching mists and whatnot. But apparently it's just super easy to just go to and fro from Bilgewater to the Shadow Isles, which I thought, I don't know, I thought there'd be a lot more to that. I thought the Shadow Isles would be like a final destination type of place, but not apparently. Alright, and from defeating the Spider Queen Gothro, we get a nice little pair of a nice new chess piece for Pike. And we now have Rogue Captain Floon on the bounty board. Apparently he's in Grey Harbor, which is conveniently where we also need to be going. And that's a completely different look on the bounty board than he is looking on the objective marker there. All the way over in Grey Harbor. Surprising to no one, that's where we get the blueprints for the things for cannons for Fortune's Ultimate. Yeah, it's not too impressive. Grey Harbor's also been given some new enemies for us at higher levels, so it's kind of been upgraded in a way, one way or another. Not particularly, but enough to, you know, get some extra levels in if you want. I don't think we need to be really grinding at this point, and I don't think I really try and fight much enemies. Because it's not necessary. You will just get levels naturally along the way. So, yeah. There is something stuck in my teeth, and it is bothering the ever-living hell out of me. Yeah, there's something in there. Oh well. But yeah, new enemies. Whoa. Well, stronger enemies. I'm not too entirely certain if we've actually fought these enemies or not, but they're here.
Fortune doesn't
Barbed razor
favor
fins.
fools.
These guys are a huge pain in the ass because they have a really annoying mechanic called barbs. And if you attack these
Good to feel
guys,
loved.
just straight up attack them. Doesn't matter if you're ranged or not, as per usual with this type of nonsense.
It's good to have friends.
You get a stack of barbs,
Feeling better
which
already.
deals damage. Whether or not you... It deals additional damage when you take damage. So, fun. And that applies barbs there, so much fun. Much fun indeed.
Knock 'em down.
Thankfully, we're able to take out these guys no problem one way or another. Wonderful thudding about noises. I think it's stupid that even if you're ranged, you still get to debuff. Like, why? That doesn't make sense. It makes sense for some mechanics in some games where... What's a good example? WoW. World of Warcraft. There's an ability. I think, what is it? It's Druids. Druids can learn an ability called
Still got
Thorns.
time to surrender.
Thorns, or what's it called? Static Shield, Electric Shield from Shamans. Both of those abilities have a very similar mechanic. If a melee attacker attacks a person that has Thorns or Lightning Shield, they will be dealt damage, and that makes sense because you're hitting something that would deal damage back to you in a manner that it would, you know, make sense.
Anyone else?
But here, it doesn't really make sense. I know it's not the same mechanics. I know it's different. It makes sense if you are melee and you hit them and it, you know, applies barbs. But the fact that it's affecting Fortune when she's ranged doesn't make sense. Like, why? Why does it... Even if they attack from range, they're still dealt barbs. It's so dumb. I know, like, mechanics of the game, that's how it's supposed to work, to make it fair and stuff. The RU could be also dealt that if you're, like, playing League and you have the item Thorn Mail, it deals damage back to attackers, even if they're not melee or not. But even still, there's just so many different mechanics that are just so bizarre in this game, and it's so annoying. And they give you items that sometimes affect enemies when they hit you, and it doesn't make sense for some of those to be given to certain champions because they don't need to. I don't know. I'm nitpicking, obviously. There are so many things to nitpick in this game. So many. And I am beyond nitpicking. Really, it's just... There's so many different wrong things in this game. From graphics not working, to mechanics being confusing at times. There are some moments in fights where it doesn't seem like you would end up on a hazard bar, but then suddenly it does. You do pop up on a hazard bar. So, yeah. The annoying part is when you encounter new enemies, you don't know if it's an actual new enemy or not. Because a lot of the time, enemies can look pretty similar, so... yeah, it can really get annoying if you want to really track down what kind of enemies you're fighting off or not. But hey, here's a new guy.
What do we have here, boys? Someone's trying to take a loot from the looters. If you want this blueprint, you're gonna have to pry it from my cold dead hands. Or more likely, I'll claw something valuable out of yours.
People know better than talk to me that way. Those still alive, anyway.
Get him.
Alright, Captain Floon.
Remember to stretch.
Not a super dangerous individual. Mostly just kind of buffs his allies and just has a really heavy damage to pretty much everybody in the area. Also, pretty much new enemies as well. So, Cutthroat Stalker, I don't think really has anything new. The Resilient Crusher is kind of annoying. I'm pretty sure he deals damage back if you smack him. Bounce back, yeah. What exactly is it? True damage back to attacking champions. Remove when hit with a speed lane attack. So, yeah, and he also heals himself when attacked, which is also very annoying, but hey, that gets removed with a poison. Unfortunately, we just got rid of Pike, so we don't have a poison on us. But, to be perfectly honest, we deal more damage to him than he heals back, so it's really not doing a whole lot. It'd still be nice to do so, but
Cut down.
And then we just get rid of that. It's really no problem. No problem whatsoever. Floon, however, is going to be kind of an annoying... or actually not so much. Apparently taunting just drives all damage towards Braum. At least for that moment. And we pretty much just got to deal with the other two and, yeah, just have at them. Come on, dude, make it rain, you idiot. No, don't do that. No. No, wait, actually, that will work. Well... come on, do make it rain. No, you stupid idiot. Why are you using double up?
Locked and loaded.
Okay, I guess that's fine. And we got Inspire up, which is also very nice.
Another scar.
Also, mildly annoying thing
Expecting
with
a thank you?
Braum's passive where
I'll get you
he
back.
gets a shield whenever he's
Yeah,
attacked
we'll
while
see.
charging an attack. Very annoying little mechanic where the shield applies, but it doesn't affect the damage being negated from the shield while it's being applied. Again, very confusing, but that's just how the game works, I guess. It shouldn't be how the game works. Oh, that's how the game works. Also kind of annoying as to how that's not really how Yasuo's flow passive works. Because once the flow is expunged, Yasuo gets a shield after the damage is taken. Which is not how it works in League, because once you take damage in League when you have flow, when you have max stacks of flow to be exact, you basically negate the damage as the shield procs, as soon as you're attacked. So, there's that.
Rome can't be stopped.
Braum giving off a glacial fissure. Very nice.
That'll teach ya.
Never gets old.
And just more AoE attacks from Floon.
Even Braum
Very
gets
heavy
weak.
damage from Braum, which I'm confused, because I thought he'd be taking a lot more resilient damage. And this is why I hate the potion system, because all of this is all scattered about when so many can just be combined in the same one. It doesn't matter if they're a different level, it does all the same shit. Well, actually, no, it kind of does depend on the level, and it does affect
Warms my
one thing or another. I think. I can't remember. This game doesn't make sense a good chunk of the time. So pardon me if a lot of the time the game doesn't make sense, which it usually doesn't.
Feeling better already.
For good reason. And this guy's just
Another
done.
notch on my gun.
It's a really good ability, by the way. Just prime the Tempest right away. You can get that. You can get that sorted out immediately once combat starts if you have the start combat with 15 overcharge on Yasuo. Yasuo is probably one of the best damage dealers in the game. I would say he is the best. Personally. I still think Pyke can deal the most damage outright, but Pyke is more or less just focused on single target damage, so that's to be expected for a good chunk of the time.
Dead and buried.
And there we go, that's Floon taken care of.
You tried.
And we're nearing the end of the episode. We also got a Hero's Pauldron for Braum, which is a very nice upgrade. Typical, all bark and no bite. Now, what do we have here? Some kind of cannon blueprint? By the looks of it, this thing could fire from here halfway to the mainland. Need to find a blacksmith to build this thing. And there's only... Yeah, Malik is still here, by the way. Nobody came to clean him up. Nobody from Jagged Hooks, nobody. He's still just laying there dead. Hero's Pauldron is a fantastic upgrade, giving him a good chunk of stamina as well as just buffing his defenses. So yeah. And there's just a bunch of enemies for us to deal with. So many enemies.
Hello, little ones.
So many enemies that are just brand new. And including that cannon crab. I have no idea what that thing is. And there we go. Pretty easy fight.
Another
I'm not going to be
notch on
fighting
my
a lot of
gun.
the enemies in this area because I don't need to be overloaded
Sorry,
or
did
anything.
that hurt?
And I think that's going to be close to the end of the episode. So we're just wrapping up the last few things there. Avoiding this giant freaking cannon crab, which is really cool design, by the way. And yeah, this place is just full of enemies now, so... yeah. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Again, sorry for the post-commentary, but hey, that's just how it works sometimes, annoyingly enough. But with that, this was actually a pretty well-rounded episode of all things considered, minus the proper commentary things. But with that, next time on Rune King, we're going to be exploring more of Bilgewater, getting a few requests here and there done, and then we're hopefully going to be eventually asking help of the Buru Elders. See you guys next time.